Welcome to Recogs, the inventory success podcast where we discuss how operators source, manufacture, finance, and sell their inventory in order to create successful businesses. I'm your host, Mike Gelb, the community manager here at Manufactured. Manufactured is the inventory success platform. We help brands with manufacturing, sourcing, financing, and also distributing their inventory across 20 categories. If you're looking for help reducing your COGS or inventory financing, or simply selling your product into new channels, we're happy to see if we can help at manufactured.com. Now, I know this is a free podcast, but that doesn't mean we don't have a favor to ask you. If you're enjoying the show, if you can please subscribe on YouTube or whichever channel that you're listening to this from, Spotify or Apple or another one, just so you don't miss out on new episodes and new topics that we discuss. And if you could also leave a review on the Apple Podcast app, that would be incredible. Our goal is to help foster community as well, and we also throw live events around the country. We throw coffees, we throw happy hours, we throw dinners. If you want to be in the know when we're next in town, bringing the emerging consumer ecosystem together, go to manufactured.com/events and sign up to our newsletter. Manufactured.com/events. It's also located in the show notes. Now, today's episode is a special one. This was a live recording webinar, part of a webinar put on by Pipe 17, our friends at Pipe 17. And I interview or really have a conversation with Greg Brown, who leads the operations for Dude Wipes. Greg's been on before, but this is quite unique in that this was a live recording where we had also some audience participation. And it was a lot of fun, quite different to our first conversation as well. So what Dude Wipes is, if you don't know Dude Wipes, they're revolutionizing how toilet paper aisles are with their wipes. They are one of the top sellers on Amazon, Walmart. Just incredible story about how they've gone from, zero to, I think this year they're going to do 150 million. And what we focus this conversation on is how they've done it with a really small team. I think there's only 25 of them. Team members for the entire business. And I think on the ops team, it's only 3 to 4 people, which Greg leads. So we're going to talk about how Greg utilizes or thinks about technology and also partnerships when it comes to scaling Dude Wipes from keeping a very low headcount, but obviously, as you can tell, large volume when it comes to sales. And we're also going to discuss how they're B2B first when it comes to sales channel over B2C. And his approach to building partnerships with the likes of Walmart, Target, Amazon, and club channels. This was a pretty different way to build brands, because I think when you think about brands, you think, oh my gosh, D2C, especially with, the e-commerce channel, or rather with online D2C becoming what it was, for the past 15, 20 years. But Greg and Dude Wipes, their approach is a bit different when it comes to driving about which channel to actually drive sales to. And really, really interesting how they think about that, how they think about inventory as well into these channels. Without further ado, here's Greg.
All right. With that, we're going to bring in Mike from Manufactured, interviewing Greg from Dude Wipes. While we heard a lot about the order to fulfillment process, I think we'll hear a little bit more on that side of operations. But I think here we'll go a little bit more to the supply chain side and how to procure these products and make sure that they're being that inventory is being organized on time. Mike, Greg, good to have you. I'm going to let you guys take it away.
Derek, thanks so much for having us. Really appreciate it. Thanks for Pipe 17 for having us. Definitely everyone should be following Derek on LinkedIn. He posts a lot of great, helpful content as well as Pipe 17. So really appreciate you all having both Greg and I here.
Thank you so much. All right, fine. I'll plug the newsletter down in the comments. Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, there we go. Plug it. Plug it. Honestly, Pipe 17 has amazing summits, amazing conferences, and amazing dinners and what have you. So follow along them. They do an incredible job bringing the entire e-commerce community together, which I know that's why we're here, right?
Yeah. Hey, you got to plug your coffee breaks as well. Make sure to tell people about
Sure. But anyway, Derek, thanks so much for having us. Greg, thanks so much for being here. Dude Wipes, remarkable brand. We're obviously going to get into it. Real quick, so I'm Mike. I'm the community manager here at Manufactured. I'll be telling you more about Manufactured after our conversation with Greg, but real quick, what we do is that we're the inventory success platform for consumer and B2B companies. We help SMBs manufacturing with their manufacturing, financing. We have our own debt facility and also distributing their products to additional channels. and we can serve around. We're currently serving 20 consumer categories, so pretty agnostic when it comes to the types of companies that we can work with. But I'll tell you a bit more about it. We have Greg Brown, the Greg Brown. He is the SVP of Operations at Dude Wipes. Dude Wipes makes billions of flushable wipes. It's a really remarkable story. They were on Shark Tank like years ago, and we got and raised money from Mark Cuban, and really kind of dialed in on flushable wipes, which we'll talk about. And I think that actually what's quite unique about them is really their approach to B2B and really being so B2B specific. And we'll obviously get into that. Clearly, I've had way too much coffee this morning. Greg, how are you? Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, man, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks so much. Thanks so much for being here. And just want to preface this as well. If anyone has questions for Greg that I didn't cover, and I'm sure there's going to be a ton of things that I don't cover that would be exceptionally amazing questions. Please, we want to try to make this as helpful as possible to other operators and other partners. So please ask your questions in the comments, and I will certainly try to get to them. All right. So Greg, tell me, I know I gave like a really quick rundown or one sentence about Dude Wipes, but tell us a little bit about Dude Wipes, how large of an entity you currently are, just to give us an idea, and also what types of SKUs and products do you sell?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're not familiar, we make a premium flushable wipe. We're in the toilet paper aisle, majority of retailers. So we're going to be about 170 million this year in revenue. Last year finishing around 120. So we're a growing business.
And when you started, you started in February 19th. And first of all, that's incredible. I mean, 170 million this year. I mean, exceptional. Congrats on that. That's amazing. I know you joined Dude Wipes in February 2019. Where was the business at when you joined in terms of stage and revenue? And also maybe from a channel perspective too.
Yeah, we were scaling. We were about 40 million, I would say, estimate when I started in 2019. From a channel perspective, we were in a lot of the big retailers, big box retailers. Amazon was and still is our largest platform and channel. But yeah, I mean, club was really the missing was the gap at that time.
Club, you mean like Sam's Club and
Sam's Club
and Costco and those
DJs and all those guys. So
got it. So how is your approach, since you've been there now for a while? 3 years, I think, with a brand, especially one that's high growth, it seems like a long time. It probably seems like 10 years, I'd imagine. But how do you think, in terms of how you're growing, especially when you grew, I think, from like what 40 million to 170 now? How do you think about growing, setting up your operations team and growing that team?
Yeah, absolutely. So we try to be technology first. We have a pretty lean team. We're about 4 people right now, be 5 here by the end of the year on the operational side. And then we have a 3-person planning team between supply and demand. So, it's pretty lean for our size of business. So as we've grown, we've been focusing on retail and e-com to us is in support of that in-store purchase and that retail experience. So we've been we do have a network with 3PLs and 3PL logistics partners and warehousing. So, and that's kind of been our strategy over the course of the last 3 years.
So more so, like, from what I'm seeing, obviously, I mean, I'd imagine with a 5-person operations team, you don't self-manufacture. That's you, and also as well, you don't like self-fulfill. You have fulfillment partners from that end. Can you talk me a little bit about, from the supply chain side of it too, how you kind of leverage or use technology in order so that you actually don't have to hire so many people in order to actually run it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely, we're looking at automating clicks and just time, right? Time back to the business is a big measurement that we're looking at from optimizing operations and making decisions. And technology projects can be expensive, feel big to implement, but we find great value in making those investments rather than just throwing people at problems. We want to hire people to keep moving the business forward as needed. We're not scared to hire people, but we rather, if we can solve a problem via process or automation via technology, I mean, we're gonna explore that route first.
So what I would say, what is that kind of, can you talk to me a little bit specifically about
Yeah,
what that actually means when it comes to, first looking at maybe technology before, like
absolutely. So
extending
yeah,
the
so it means, getting with, so one, it means understanding your process, and even if you don't, even if it's going to change, which in a growing company like we've had, right, processes evolve, right? So we're looking for, what is our end goal? Where are we trying to get to? Because that end goal is not going to keep moving. That's the target that we're trying to attain. So even though how we get there might continue to shift. So looking at technology is going to be really breaking that process down, understanding where those bottlenecks are, and then it could be scripting within our ERP system to automate things. It could be sourcing new pieces of technology, like new software or automation, or leveraging different types of AI. That's a big thing now, right? And that we're just trying to get the team to use in their day to day, and we're still figuring that one out. But yeah, and it's just trying to always make sure that everybody's being very vocal if something is redundant or you know it probably can be automated. So it's really making sure and empowering everyone on the team that like they have a voice to tell us like, hey, this is painful. I'm doing it all the time. There's a handful of exceptions, but typically it works this way. We take that process, we break it down, and we look at where can we automate as much of it as possible to give them back time just to manage exceptions and let the system kind of work for itself.
And so is that you all in-house kind of building some of your own systems, or is that
It's
using
not
kind of off the
building our systems. It's building on top of the systems that we have. So sometimes it's as easy as automating Excel sheets, which we try to get out of Excel as much as possible, but sometimes you still need it. So it's adding some VBA code, which would be things in house. We have an analyst on the team who luckily can do that, and we put him let him tackle as many things as possible. Or it's leveraging and working with our partners. We also are on NetSuite, and it's like adding scripting and customization on top of that type of tool. Or it's integrating, right, with e-com platforms and other things to create better visibility with our partners. So building robust integrations to make sure our source of truth and visibility is as accurate as possible. So it's kind of a combination. I don't think there's a straight line on how to do it. You kind of, once again, start with that end target. How are you doing it today, and breaking that down.
Cool. No, that's really helpful. And in terms of the breakdown a little bit on the supply chain side of it, are you all, in terms of like the actual raw materials or raw ingredients for the wipes
Yeah.
themselves, are you all placing those orders and then having it to the manufacturer, or is it a bit more turnkey where the manufacturer actually kind of produces you kind of send the exact products specs that you want to the manufacturer, and they kind of figure out in terms of producing that?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, actually. There's not a ton of manufacturers that do make flushable wipes, and our process is a little bit unique. But we are not placing the purchase orders ourselves for our raw materials. That being said, we do have a heavy hand in that relationship down the supply chain and making sure. So we're part of the whole supply chain, but we are allowing our manufacturer to place the actual purchase orders and receive it on our behalf, and then we kind of take it once it's into a finished good. But it is something that we like to have a touch on throughout the whole chain.
Yeah, no, it's. I remember talking to another operations leader, and they kind of said, "Listen, as long as I have enough raws, like I just make sure I never run out of like the raw ingredients or like raw materials for my product, that I'm always in stock. I can then produce or manufacture it, anytime I want to, but never like running out of stock on that. Then that is like critical. How I'm just kind of curious, just because on the supply chain side of it too, like you really rely on partners for to do many of a few of the operation side, and it makes sense because you have a very, very lean team. I'm just I'm just curious how you all think about margin versus kind of hiring as well, because of course when
Yeah.
you have like a partner as well, that of course they need to make money too, right? So you're kind of giving up a bit of margin without doing it yourself, but at the same time you then don't have to hire people as well to actually do that work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, I look at the P&L every week. I'm always looking at that and our margin, and it's a balancing act. I can't give you necessarily a straight answer on it, but we look at right now during our growth, right? It's all about executing. It's executing for our retailers and for our end consumers, and if that means that we have to spend a little bit more to execute at a high degree, because maybe our core competency isn't warehousing,
Mhm.
then we're going to do that. And as the business matures and grows, we'll continue to reevaluate and maybe shift things more in house to kind of get a few extra margin points on below the line. But yeah, right now it's really our focus is growing the brand, executing for our customers, both our retail customers and our end consumer customers, and giving them the best experience, which we feel we can best deliver via using some of these third parties.
Yeah, this probably sounds dumb because I know that, this is kind of the point of maybe most businesses, but it seems like the kind of takeaway from you is, in terms of Dude Wipe's priority, it's really driving that volume and driving just volume of your products being sold. Which I think that also that kind of lends in, and I want to get to it too, a bit about your strategy when it comes to, e-commerce, because you don't actually have like an a B2C D2C e-commerce business. It's all B2B. Can you discuss a bit more about that strategy and about being primarily B2B e-commerce, and as well as how your approach to your retail partners?
Yeah, absolutely. So, our product is like 99% water. It's a heavy product to ship. And
Mm.
our price point per pack is 3.99. So it's an inefficient product to ship as well. So that kind of drove us into this direction of how can we still be as many places, because you want to be where the end consumer is, right? So obviously there's a lot of great ecom partners out there. So we lean in on those other platforms, allowing them to fulfill for us. From an Amazon perspective, it's Amazon vendor for us, or for Walmart. We have a heavy presence on Walmart's ecom platform as well, and by leaning in, and then other retailers as well. I mean, we lean in on all their platforms and allow and try to enable their omni-channel to take hold, and they're already closer to the customers than we are, so that fulfillment piece is a little easier, as well as for us, a lot of times we're a part of somebody's larger cart, right? That 3.99 pack that you're buying is going to be one item in a much larger cart, so it just makes sense for us to be more on their site, available through them, and part of their omni-channel than trying to create our own robust fulfillment, and have to logistically try to be as close to all the customers as possible.
And when you started in February 2019, and that makes sense too, because if it is like a very heavy product, pertaining, the basket size, or it's only 3.99 in terms of a product, it's not like a super expensive product. Does it make sense then to do kind of single order shipping
Mhm.
for, and kind of that kind of, and you all doing the last fulfillment from it? So makes sense in terms of driving volume to your retail wholesale partners, and actually really having it as as much more of a wholesale business. So
Yeah,
that's awesome.
and on our shop, we do have a Shopify site that is direct to consumer. But if you go onto ours, you'll see these big buttons that say "Buy on Amazon," "Buy on Walmart,"
That's the
"Buy
thing. Yeah.
on Target," and actually that all also helps our strategy only more, because we're driving traffic off. We're driving off-site traffic directly to our page on their platform, which is helping our ranking on their platform. So even though we're marketing and people are looking up Dude Wipes and they're going to the product page, they're then clicking these buttons to buy on Amazon, and that's offsite traffic getting right to our page on Amazon and helping our ranking within the Amazon machine. So
No, totally. And then you don't have to spend as much money on ads, right?
and
To
then you don't have to
actually
spend as much money
on
on
those
ads.
to actually on those on Walmart.com and on and on Amazon. And so at the same time, and this is more of a marketing, thing. I think that the power of, why I think brands maybe navigate towards, doing D2C and being primarily D2C, meaning you're kind of selling products on the site, is because you actually are able to kind of control much more of the customer experience when it comes to collecting emails and email
Mhm.
marketing and kind of all that all that kind of stuff, which you might lose that a little bit since you're directing people to on the B2B side. I know that's more of a marketing side, so we don't have to go into
No,
that.
you can.
But
Yeah.
but what I think is really just interesting, and just in terms of it's kind of a unique strategy you all are employing, because I think that there was this because of D2C, it's it sounds really, terrific, and it is very, very terrific, depending on what product you are. But you've all taken like quite a different strategy in terms of actually driving business, even on the e-commerce side, to your e-com partners, to resale wholesale partners, instead of actually selling to it's selling on your site, which I think is really cool, and also kind of breaking down as well why, because of course it is like a heavy product. It makes a lot more
Mhm.
sense versus for wholesale channels.
Yeah.
How
And lastly on that really quick, just it also is a great for our relationships, right? Like a lot of these companies, there was just a good article about Wall Street in the Wall Street Journal about Walmart strategy on like trying to drive their e-com sales. So us being able to also tell our buyers and talk to these people that we have relationships with, and explain to them how we're driving more traffic to their sites, they love it. And it's a relationship builder as well. So there's a few benefits outside of just the rankings as well.
Talk to me a little bit about SKUs as well.
Mhm.
How many SKUs do you sell? How also do you think about planning for those SKUs in general, in terms of what your hero product is, high bestseller versus maybe some of the others, or maybe they're all evenly distributed?
Yeah, no, it's not an even distribution. We have a handful of what we would consider hero SKUs. It's really our 48 count pack that's meant for
Mm,
you to have in your bathroom at home. But that those we have there's like 2 scents that I would consider a hero SKU of that pack. But I think our shea butter scent is really going to be up taken over soon. But yeah, so planning for is definitely tough, especially with our growth, and right now, our business, one of our things that we're trying to solve for the next 5 years is capacity. It's how do we keep up with the growth. So planning is for us is a lot of one, of course, being really in tune with your sales and marketing teams on what are they doing, what are retailers looking for, promotions and opportunities, but then also really looking at that market POS data, since we are so B2B, and leveraging all that data to try to understand, what is our turns, and then obviously work that back into our supply plan. And what we find a lot of times as well is something that we're monitoring is what is our customers' inventory. We want to make sure, because such a high growth product, it's not just hard for us to plan, but we find that our customers also have a hard time understanding how much inventory they need. So sometimes they overbuy, sometimes they underbuy. So we try to give them guidance. And by doing that, we also are helping ourselves kind of build some resilience into the supply chain, and making sure that we're going to have enough inventory based on that collaboration. So we're really trying to partner with our retailers in what should inventory look like based on that POS data, and then we work that back into our supply plan.
What's your overall as well approach to partnerships with retailers and actually building some of those relationships that maybe I know that for e-commerce a lot of this is maybe algorithmic based, but how do you think about overall partnerships with, or your approach to partnerships with your retailers?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously critical. Amazon's a funny one, because Amazon is a bit more of a machine. You don't have people all the time to talk to. So, if we have to cut orders or allocate orders, usually we're cutting or allocating on Amazon, more so than we're cutting or allocating on other retailers. And the strategy there is we have those relationships to manage, right? A lot of times we're dealing with people directly. So from that perspective, we're really trying to always, once again, meet expectations and execute really highly. So it's kind of understanding each retailer and how they work. And if they're kind of more of a machine like Amazon, or if it's more of like this person face to face that you have to lean in on and kind of show that you're working for their goals and objectives.
What from a channel perspective too, what are you really excited about? Because I know you have very big growth ambitions over the next 5-10 years throughout your life, your company's journey. But when you think about growth, what do you think about the retailers, whether it's a new retailer or it's a retailer that you're not in that you would like to be in, or a set of retailers
Yeah.
that you would like to be in, or if it's, hey, we're already in this retailer, we're doing really well, but we think that actually this is a real opportunity here to even drive much more volume with them, or just new sales channel altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, new sales channel side, it's TikTok Shop, right? I mean, I think we're really excited about TikTok. We're excited about where it's going. It probably is also right now our biggest struggle because I think TikTok is still trying to figure it out themselves a little bit. They're changing it from some fulfillment strategies and they're playing with different things, turning on free shipping over $20, turning it off. And once again, with our price point, that all has big impacts on us. But TikTok is one of the channels that I think we're most excited about. Just because, Dude Wipes, we do have a fun brand and we have this creator platform, this ad creator platform. We are an open ad creator, if you're familiar with TikTok and how it works. So, we have over 4,000 creators who are trying to take advantage of what we're offering on the back end. And it's just, it's really exciting. We see it being a really big potential channel for us. But once again, TikTok's changing their strategy almost every week right now. They're trying things themselves. They're trying to figure out what this looks like. So we have to be really flexible in leveraging and working with them on what their objectives. And then from like more, your traditional retailer side, it's really focusing on club. We're not full store yet in Costco, so it's really aiming on Costco. But and then it's also expanding, where we show up. So from an Amazon perspective, in the toilet wet wipe, flushable toilet paper, we are the #1 brand on Amazon in that. But how can we, in just traditional bath tissue, how do we continue to move up the ranking? I think, it changes all the time, but I think when I last looked a week ago, we were #3 in traditional toilet paper. So, it's how do we continue to do that? And how does our strategy of driving people to these web pages and doing all these things continue to help elevate us in the channels that we're in?
Well, I know that you have to get. I know that you definitely need to get to you definitely need to get to #2 in
Yes.
traditional toilet.
We love being #2.
Yeah, love being #2. My final question to you, Greg, just because we also have a podcast at Manufactured, and we always ask as our closing question. I think it's a fun question to kind of think about. What would you value more, $100 of COGS, $100 of Dude Wipes COGS, or $100 cash?
Yeah, definitely $100 COGS. I mean, we'll always look for $100 COGS over anything else. So
awesome, Greg. Thank you so much. Really appreciate this.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you guys both. Really, really great stuff from you, Greg. We have to ask because we can see somebody hanging out in the background there, kind of a sleepy head behind you. What's your dog's name?
Yeah, Ella. Yeah, she's been very good on the on this. I'm glad she was able to stay quiet. So
yeah, my dog would be barking, running around, trying to get up in my chair.
Yeah, the other one's outside because you just never know. So
awesome. And then kind of related question, James asks, is Dude Wipes thinking of venturing into pet wipes? But more seriously, men is only 50% of the category, right? So what about the rest of the market or other types of markets with your
Yeah,
product?
we actually see our user base based on some studies. It's about 50-50 at the moment,
Okay.
which is pretty surprising. I know, but from the dog wipe thing, there's no plans at the moment. But dude wipes are meant to break apart as they are flushable, so probably not the best for your pet's paws. They might break apart on you. But yeah, so no, our strategy is just continue to be true to who we are, and like we defined a dude as anybody can be a dude. It's just a mindset. It's a good person. You don't have to be a guy to be a dude. So we all go to the bathroom.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much for both of you. We're going to move into our next session. See you guys later.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Right. And there you have it. It was terrific chatting with Greg. Greg, thanks again so much for coming on the show. If you're enjoying this podcast, which I hope you are, please leave us a positive review on Apple if you have Apple available. You can also subscribe on YouTube or whichever area platform that you're listening to this podcast on. That'd be tremendous. Again, this podcast is produced by Manufactured. What we do is we're an inventory success platform. We help brands with inventory financing, manufacturing, sourcing, and distributing products across new sales channels. If that might be interesting to you, if you might have some headaches in any of those factions, please contact us or reach out to us at manufactured.com. We also throw events, as I mentioned earlier before this. Check out manufactured.com/events to sign up, because we love bringing the community together. We love bringing brands, investors, retailers, distributors together, and other amazing partners. And we love to have you be part of it. So that's manufactured.com/events. Thanks for listening. I hope this conversation was valuable to you.